Check. Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, November 24th. So, looking at the week real quick, no news today, right? Uh, and then tomorrow we're going to have PPI. Interestingly enough, I've looked, forwards and backwards. I don't see any CPI listed for the U.S. So, you know, no news is good news, I guess. Uh, but there's really, uh, other than PPI tomorrow, we're going to have durable goods. The unemployment claims are going to be on Wednesday. Obviously, the market's closed Thursday, and futures will be open on Thursday for that a few hours. Closing at like noon or 1 o'clock. And then Friday is going to be an early close, and there's no news Friday either. So getting back to the title of the video, let's go through last week or the Friday, anyways. So we just basically balanced between these large gamma areas on Friday for the NQ. Went up to the top of the, 1 day expected move. After, and I pointed out that, that 580 and 650, were pretty, those were the floors that needed help to get through, and they held. So, status quo basically. And then we just basically went through back and forth, just wrapping around, getting some action around each of these large gammas areas as we, went up towards the top of the expected move today, and they kind of petered back off into the close. I hope you guys like on the sides, the SPX, the SPY, and the Qs. Right, I've cleaned it up to only show the options positions. I'm not showing any other like lines of just where dollars are. I am leaving those on the NQ and the ES tick chart. So just to be aware. So if you see a stall, you can see if it's near a major dollar number, and then use that accordingly. So looking at where we are, right, we only have two untested points of control above us, and they're quite a ways above us at this point in time. We're currently trading 67 or 66 57, and just sitting. Oops, excuse me. Still just sitting basically in this large bar that we had, right? We had a large bar on October 10th. We had a decent sized bar on November 13th, and another decent sized range, which was even bigger than the 10th on the 20th of November. So we'll see. We're just still consolidating in there. Notice that we're still under these under this big node, right? So really right around where we are right now is the bottom of this node, and then the top of the lower section goes up to around 6714. I wouldn't look for anything above that in today's session, to be honest with you, if you're playing for the upside moves. And then you can see, just connecting the tops here, we got a little bit of a downtrend channel, and there is room to get up towards the top of that channel. Uh, Looking at the overnight session, right, it's above Friday's value, right? We put in some fair value gaps below us that are, bullish is what we consider them until they're taken out. They will trade later, but you never know how much later they'll trade. So not a good idea to get in front of them at this point. But if you look at the expected high and the low move of the day, what institutions and bigger traders were thinking on Friday, right? They're thinking that you're not getting above the bottom of this fair value gap from last week on either the ES or the NQ, right? So as far as they're concerned, and we'll see if they get run over or not, but uh, this is right around the expected, top of the range. You got a little bit more to go, maybe another 140 points on the NQ, uh, maybe another 40 on the ES, which is good for us day traders, right? And then to the bottom, you have to take out this poor structure in the ES that's right around uh, 6,600 on the ES, and that just takes you to value very low. So they're expecting, if you look at where these lows are, right, that we're going to one time frame higher today. That basically Friday's low is going to hold, and we're going to one time frame higher, but it doesn't look like we're going to get much higher, right? So we're already at the top of the range. Maybe we back in fill. What I'd like to see if we can get a test down to this 24,200. This was a split in the distribution before. That should line up with pretty close to where this poor structure is in the ES. I'd like to see us come down and take a couple of ticks, a couple of trades down under this poor structure, kind of repair this, and then move back higher would be the bullish scenario that I would like to see. Otherwise, you could get build up some inventory up here, hit this high, and then kind of just peter back a little bit the rest of the day. But I wouldn't think you're really going to go too far. So the title of my video is uh, Will the vol burn this week keep a floor under equities, right? Because what we have is, Thursday's closed and Friday's a half a day. So you're going to have people selling time, right? Because there's going to be no risk of actual intraday trading while the market's closed. There's risk of gaps around the edges, but that usually doesn't happen until after the expiration. Um, so looking at really where we're at for the cash market, we closed basically at 6,600. Futures are up about 40 points, so we'll be around 66.40 right now. So 66.50's got a little bit of gamma, 66.70, and then nothing really. The big gamma is at 6,700 for today and this week so far on the cash market. Looking at the SPY, you've got we closed at 659. We're currently trading 663, so we're up, that 40 points, that $4, 40 points in the ES. So you can see that 660 should be a support resistance zone. That would kind of check back to just a little bit higher than where we settled probably on Friday, and then we'll have to see. But 665 doesn't have that much gamma on it. It's got some, but not a lot. And then you just kind of like control up through 665 to 670. I would not look for anything above 670 today. Uh, I don't think that's a good plan for day traders. And then as we look at the Qs closed Friday at 590, right? We're currently trading 595, so we just kind of almost 596 at this point in time. So we just kind of drifted up, but you can see the floor. There was that large gamma right around where we closed on Friday, that 590, and then you got a little bit more. If you get a flush, it should take you down to 585. Otherwise, if the VIX is kind of not getting a big, kind of drifting around, I would just assume that we're going to trade between 590 and 596 to 590, 590 to 596 for most of the session. I think if you hit 600, you're going to get rejected. I would not push up above there. And to be honest with you, I don't know if you can get over 597, 597 half today. So we'll see about that. Looking at, just putting it all back together. Uh, so you can see there's some blobs there where I've got the shaded part is there's a lot of open interest in the option. So between 590 and 592, you've got a lot. You can see that as we've come up in the overnight, you couldn't get any traction under this 592. So that's going to be a good floor. And I think you just kind of flush back down to 590 if you lose the overnight low. Uh, Keep in mind that this is should be kind of like a springboard or a mattress. Not that you're gonna really rocket higher off of it, but you shouldn't be able to fall through it. I wouldn't think today either, uh, meaningfully. Uh, and you can see right where that gap fills, right around that 592 as well, from where the futures stop trading at 5 o'clock. You can see, between The closing bell, it was at 590, and then by the time futures closed, it was at 592. That's kind of, the gap that is there. And you can see that there was no interest and trading below that level in the overnight. So as traders have got to, you know, they get excited, one way or another, they kind of lean in more than they should in one direction or the other. So we'll see if the shorts can get out this week. So to the risk for the bears, right? Even though this is the 1 day expected move high up here, right? As we look, and maybe I should do it on this one. The risk for the bears, right, as you get into these fair value gaps. I mean, this is a pretty good gap that goes up to uh, 24,900 almost. That you could trade most of this. You could maybe even touch the bottom of the second one. That would be, perfectly typical. And you could get up to 67.20. Basically in the ES as well. And then you have to see if the 1 day expected move, if that starts holding as support after you break it, right? Holding above that 1 sigma move. So those are the boxes that I'm gonna look at. I'm not gonna be jumping all over myself to short in this area because you could literally float pretty quickly in this whole zone or just kind of chop around in it. Uh, so I'll be watching structure and price. I wanted some time to get in here. Once you get into this block, I think you should start looking very closely at Jack's time cycles to see, if it's acceptance or rejection inside of this. And we could just kind of fill in here today as a scenario for the against the bears, and that would go right at that burning the volatility this week, right? As institutions sell volatility, it's going to put a slight bid into the equities, and it's going to also keep them from, really trading lower this week. We should get a couple flashes lower, but they should be buyable this week. I hope this helps. You guys have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Remember, PPI in the morning.